So you have to develop a thick skin. You always have to put the end in mind. You always have to have that vision very clearly in your head. Like when everyone else doubts it, you need to be sure about what you started. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So it's been a while. I promised consistency. I've not been as consistent. So today I was at home and decided, let me just jump on here and film. Mondays are my filming day. I'm not as consistent because there's so much going on, and so I will not promise anything, but I'll say like I am intentional about this journey, and the word for 2024 is intentional. So I hope that I get to match up to what my brain is telling me to do this year and not succumb to just the pressure of multitasking and doing so many things. So this is important to me and I want it to remain so. And so today I just want to talk about something that has been really asked about, like a topic that has been asked about. A lot of people have asked me to be able to tackle it, but I have never tackled it, and today I want to tackle it. So Stada. So Stada Kenya, if you have not subscribed, if you've not liked, if you've not followed, please follow Stada Kenya on all socials. So Stada Kenya is my baby. I tend to refer to it still as a toddler because it's just 3 years old. But Stada Kenya was a dream that started way back. Like I was in high school and I always knew that I wanted to do something around women and girls, even in primary school. So in primary school, I studied in a school that was in town, but then I was living in the rural. So we were not like, I didn't come from money. Like I came from a fairly decent background of parents who genuinely valued education and valued taking care of us and loving us. I don't think I ever felt not loved. My childhood was so great. Like I had a dad who watched us, my sister and I, until we are pretty much like in class 7. Yeah, that's 13 years. So we would still call him and he would come and wash our backs. I think it was class 6 or wherever, I don't know, but like it was too much love. I sat on my dad's lap for the longest. Like I was just really like in a space where both my parents really loved us. But the fact is, because they valued education and because they wanted the best for us, we went to school with people who were insanely rich according to those standards. And I just really was very conflicted about life in the urban area and life in the rural area. And so I lived in between two worlds, I tend to believe. Like where I came from, at home, there was a lot of poverty, and people would talk about things that I would not relate to, like lack of sanitary towels. They would not go to school because of periods. They were sent from school for school fees. Those are not my struggles. As I say, like I think the priority in my home was education, and so it didn't mean that we were rich. It just meant that our priorities are different. And so I started watching these injustices very young. When I went to high school, my resolve was solidified. I was always that person who would fight for everyone's right. Like, why are you beating us? Like, why are you beating them? Like, what have they done? Why are they facing the sun? We had these weird punishments, or you people are facing the sun as a punishment. So like your eyes are on the sun for like hours, or you'd be taken, you'd be told to go in a blanket to the playing ground, and now you're there sleeping with a blanket under like scorching sun. Like what kind of punishments are those? And so I questioned those things early on, and I knew very well that I wanted to fight for the rights of women and girls, and I wanted to be in a position where like I had an impact in the lives of women and girls. And so I joined high school. I joined campus and studied law. And so I knew I would litigate. I knew that I would go to court. I would argue out cases for women and girls. That was still there. So when I went for my judicial attachment, I just knew this was not an environment for me. I hated it from the first day I walked into those corridors. Like, I hated litigation. I hated everything about the court, and I knew I was never going to do it. But then I was like, now what? Like, what? I've studied law. I am in my third year. I cannot change. I don't have the luxury of stopping or graduating and then going to do another course. But then I was like, I could do so much with this course. But I started thinking, and so when I finished school, my dad asked me what I wanted to do. Like, I got pregnant in my 4th year and delivered. And so once I was done with that phase, my dad was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do something around advocacy for women and girls. I didn't know specifically what that meant because I had never seen, like, I did not have a role model. Like, I didn't have someone that I could look up to. Those are my chickens. I didn't have anyone that I could look up to. I was like, that was a raw fail. Like, like advocacy. What was advocacy? Like, it was just these things that were being thrown, like random words that people didn't actually really understand well. And so I was like, I want to advocate for the rights of women and girls. Like, I want to do advocacy, which is something I studied in school, and I wanted to involve women and girls. And so I told my dad, and my dad was like, I don't know what that exactly means. I've never had anyone who's ever done that, but let me go and talk to a friend of mine, and then let's see. So the friend of his talked to a friend of hers, and I found myself in this organization that I got to work at for 5 years. And so during my last and final years, I was like, something about this feel like it's done for me. Like, I feel like there is not very much that I could change. There's not very much that I could still do. Like, just the end of a season. And I think for the last year, I struggled. And one of the things you know, like, you're struggling is when, like, nothing now works. Like, everything looks like they're crumbling, like you've outgrown a space. And so I needed to get out and move. But during this time, I had started sponsoring. So I started sponsoring children, and I was in campus. So I had people that I took through school. I did a lot of drives for sanitary towels. I would give sanitary towels. I partnered with AfriPads at some point and gave reusable sanitary towels. I was just very much engaged in this world. And so at this time that I was now contemplating, like, leaving this organization that I had worked for the last 5 years, I was the advocacy and policy lead. So I made that happen for myself. And so during that time, I was like, now I want to streamline. I want to institutionalize this dream that I've had for 10 years. And so I went on in the heat of COVID. I was thinking about my life. I was thinking about where I want my life to go and all these other things. And I was like, I feel like it's time, because I felt that was what I needed to do at that time. So I decided to go ahead and register. So I registered during my COVID period, and then I got pregnant shortly after. And then I was like, just thinking, there's something about pregnancy that gives you a lot of time to think through things. And I was like, let's do something. And so I had registered in 2020. There was nothing much I was doing, but I knew, like, in future I would do something. So I started saying, like, let me set up something. Let me have a group of volunteers, be able to do something, and then we see where this goes. And so that's really how it started. But one of the things that I really know, like, made it easier for it to get to the point where it's gotten, because it's like 3 years down the line, is because this is something that I had dreamed of for a very long time. I was not starting it because of anything other than the passion and the dream that I had that I needed to live out. And it was not based on any other thing. Like, I even never ever thought, like, even until now, it's not my full-time job. Like, I have so many things going on the side. But then it has 40 employees now. Like, we employ 40 people, most of them on full-time, some on part-time. We have our own place, we have our own building, we are implementing a number of projects, and I honestly credit everything to the availability, or the, what do I say, like the fact that there was a dream. Even before anything happened, there was a dream. I had dreamt. I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew that it would cost me a lot, but like I had put down the cost and all that. So like, for example, our first office, which we started in the first physical office that we had, which was in 2021, I did some consultancies. It was a lot of money then, and I decided to take all this money into this structure. So it was not a very good structure at the point where we got it. So it was like a little bit, it was not the best of structures. So I did renovations, I paid rent for 5 years. I knew this was our place for the next 5 years. Like, that office was too tiny, like too small. Everything was like, there were so many people in that place. We faced a lot of opposition from friends, from enemies, from government officials, from like, everyone was just really like having an opinion about it, and I think people didn't really underestimated where it would go. So like, there are people who had to come back and apologize, and just the fact that they didn't know like what everything was about, and the fact that we have reached so many women and girls, like, it just is something that is mind-blowing to me. Like, for example, our water projects where we drill boreholes, we've drilled over 30 boreholes now, headed to 50. I think it's somewhere close to 50 now in different communities. We repaired thousands of pumps. We've done thousands of health and hygiene conversations. We've distributed almost now heading to 50,000 sanitary towels, the reusable ones, the disposable ones, like so many, because we started out as a pickup center, and having to hear from women who've been retained in school, women who don't have to drop out, having to hear from people, girls who are in school consistently because we are paying their fees, and all these things. Like, it's just so surreal. Like, I just feel so blessed that I got to live this dream out. And so this video is to encourage you. If you don't know where to start, just start. Like, just start. It doesn't matter how big that dream is. There are so many lives. Imagine 40 young people are employed. Some are not very young, but mostly young. So 40 young people are employed in this institution. They're earning a living, they're feeding their families, they are able to make out a living. Like, girls have reusable sanitary. Close to 50,000 girls have reusable sanitary towels that they can be able to use for a year and not have to go to school. There are people we've rescued from gender-based violence situations. There are girls who are going to school. We have a community library now where children can come and always study, and all these things. And I can just imagine, like, if I didn't do anything about it, if it remained at a dream stage, then we would never have gotten to where we've gotten to, and that would have been a disservice to my entire legacy as a person, but also to the lives that this dream that I had has had an impact on. So my thinking is, or my encouragement to you is just that whatever it is you're thinking, it's never too late, it's never too early. You're perfectly at the right time. But one of the things that I also tell people, that you need to check your intentions and why you're doing it. If your intentions are anything but helping out, then you will be drained, because there is so much negativity that comes with it. There's so much stress. There's so much just things that are just like, I call nonsense, that come with just living out your dream. People have an opinion about everything. People feel that they need to be able to give you their 2 cents, and they feel their 2 cents are too important that you cannot live without it. Some are insulting, and some are just plain arrogant and just very misplaced. there's so much stress, like working through proposals and rejections and people having an opinion about everything. I think there is need for you to be able to understand, why am I even getting into this space in the first place? If you don't have this thick skin for it, you will be frustrated. So you have to develop a thick skin. You always have to put the end in mind. You always have to have that vision very clearly in your head. Like when everyone else doubts it, you need to be sure about what you started. But I want to still advise, and I still want to encourage anyone who has anything that they want, any dream that they have, anything that they want to live out, I want to encourage you to go ahead and do it, because it's worth it. At the end of the day, so many lives depend on you having the courage to be able to live out your dream. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please just ask down below. I'll be happy to answer. Anything that you want me to tackle in this topic, I'll be happy to tackle as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.